Alright, let's look at a sample of the integrated essay. We'll start with just the introduction paragraph of an essay. Now, for this, we're going to need a sample text and lecture, because, remember, your first essay is both about reading and listening. Now, below you have links to Quick Prep Volume 3. And in Quick Prep Volume 3, which is a PDF, a file, there we're going to use page 21. That has the reading for this essay. Other than page 21, you also need the MP3. There is a picture of some headphones, which you can click on, or on the website, you can go to track 11 to hear the lecture. We're going to use both the reading on page 21 and that MP3, which are both linked below this video. After you have read, which takes 3 minutes, and listened for about 2 minutes, remember to only listen one time, then you can come back to this video and we'll look at that sample introduction paragraph. Okay, let's look at this one sentence at a time. The very first sentence of my essay is this: the text and the lecture offer two opposing views on the accuracy of the Chevalier de Saint-Gault's memoir. You don't need to say this, you don't need to pronounce it, you only have to write it, and you will have the text next to the writing area. So on your screen, on your real TOEFL, you can copy some words like this if you really need them, because who knows how to spell Chevalier? It's not a real common English word, and you don't usually need it. Now, that's not so important. What's more important is this: the text and the lecture offer two opposing views. Notice there's no detail. There's no specifics. This is just the relationship. The relationship between the text and the lecture. There are a few very small details you can see in here. Accuracy, Chevalier de Saint-Gault's memoir. But that's just the topic. It's not really anything about the specific discussion, the specific argument. It's just the topic. Next sentence. While the text lists reasons to be suspicious of the book's details, the professor counters those specific points and supports the memoir's accuracy. Okay. Important to notice here, while the text, comma, the professor. This gives us contrast. It's more about the relationship. This gives us a little bit more detail, a little bit more explanation of this relationship. But it's not very concrete. It's not very specific. We only know that the text is suspicious and the professor disagrees. The professor counters. To counter means to give an opposing, an opposite idea, or example. Again, this is specific to the topic, but it does not give concrete, very specific details. She, that's the professor, uses other historical information about the Chevalier and his writing to come to her conclusions. What is this? It doesn't really talk about the text at all. Notice this first sentence and the second sentence are about the text. Well, there's a reason for that. This sentence is more about the actual question, because the question on page 21 of your PDF asks you what the professor talked about, what the lecture talked about. That's more important than the reading. So this sentence is all about the listening. This gives us focus on the lecture. How does it do that? It explains the professor's structure, the professor's general way of giving the lecture. So, let's talk about that structure again in summary. Your introduction should start with stating the general relationship, what the text does compared to the lecture, and how they are similar or different. Then it gives the specific stances. What does the text say? What does the lecture say? Instead of just the relationship. And finally, that last sentence tells how the professor supports their ideas, because this is about the listening. Now, this one I put in italics in that slanty writing like this because it's optional. You don't need the third sentence. It's possible to write a very good essay with only points 1 and 2. That's all for our introduction. Thank you for listening.